What's up, everybody? We're on the lift with Blueberry because we're going racing this weekend. We got the PDRA race that is coming up. What day? Friday? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Be there or be a square. So the few things we have to get wrapped up on this, mainly the oil pan. That's my main concern in working on this car and what we're going to be doing today and what a lot of the video is kind of going to be focused on. So the reason that we're making this oil pan change and why it's so significant is because if you guys remember from our last video and from Drop the Hammer and the Dyno video before that, this thing, once it gets up to higher RPMs, it has a windage issue because there's no windage tray in that pan. That pan is kind of just like a really bare bones wet sump setup from Milodon, like the super cheap pan. And it doesn't have any trap doors, any baffles, anything like that. And all that oil is getting picked up by the crankshaft and is making my pump cavitate. So that leads to oil pressure loss, which we cannot have when we're putting, upwards of 40 pounds of boost in this thing when it's really on kill. So we need to fix that before we go any further because I can't kick the rods out of this thing. That would be a huge deal for me. So we're gonna go ahead and fix that pan and hopefully that will fix all our issues. In the meantime though, what I did off camera was I went ahead and I added a switch back here for my fuel pump kickdown right here. Show that off, Nate. Look at that craftsmanship. So basically how this works is that this little switch just grounds the fuel pump input wires, so this will slow the fuel pump down for when I'm street driving this, because you can't run these pumps at wide open throttle, especially on a 16-volt system. So I'll go ahead and show you how that works. It's pretty cool. You just turn the fuel pump on. You can clearly hear the pump is at low speed, high speed, low speed, high speed.
Sounds like a cool EDM song intro.
So we've got that part of the job wrapped up. That's all good to go. I redid my fuel pump or my fuel cell drain line so that that's easier to use. Swapped lids. I got rid of that piece of crap Chinese lid and put this nice ProWorks lid on there. Nice billet piece. These are also for sale on the website, guys. If you want to upgrade your Chinese fuel cell, this is a good upgrade. I'd recommend it. And then I've got my blinker wires hooked back up, so our blinkers are now working nice and bright. As far as wiring goes in here, the only thing I think that I have left to do is to remount my horn button, which is kind of just laying there. I've got a new switch for that to put in. And after that, we can go ahead and drop the oil pan out of this thing and start checking out our oil filter, our fuel filter, make sure there's nothing in the bottom of the pan, probably check a bearing, and put my new super Billy bad boy, Steph's external wet sump specific. I can't even remember how many quart pan it is. I think it's like a 7 or 8 quart pan. So that should be here anytime now. We're just waiting on that for me to finish this project up. We'll put it back on the dyno, make sure the oil pressure issue is all good to go, and we'll be ready to race. I can't believe we're driving this thing. All right, so we've got our horn switch in here, nice and obnoxious. But it's a loud horn because it's a 12-volt horn just off of like a Malibu or something like that, and it's got 16 volts to it, so it screams pretty loud. But that pretty much wraps up everything that we needed to do as far as wiring and interior stuff. I'll go ahead and I'll nut and bolt my steering wheel buttons just to make sure that those aren't going to come out on me. And then everything in here is all set and good to go, including our door, which now works. Look at that. Good. Good?
Yep.
All right, we've got our oil out. It is looking pretty good. Not any real sparkles at all. Looking nice and clean. So you got probably 20 passes and a few hundred street miles on it. So I think that's looking pretty good. I'll probably reuse this oil, honestly. I'm probably gonna have to add a little bit of fresh oil to it because the new pan's a little bit bigger. But yeah, this oil is good to go. I'm gonna reuse this. All right, we've got all of our oil pan bolts out. See a big old line of oil pan bolts up here. And unfortunately, it looks like, and I kind of figured this, we're just gonna have to take the steering rack off of the K-member to move this out of the way, which no biggie. I'll just have to double check the alignment when I put it back on. But once I move this, I think we should be free and clear to like drop this thing down, angle it away from the transmission bell housing, and then pull it right out. So that's what we're gonna do. Come on, it's so close. Oh, almost there. Almost. It is. It's going. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Didn't even have to lift the engine up. Look at that. Let's take this thing over here. Let's see what lies at the bottom of this pan. What special surprise that we may or may not have waiting for us.
Yeah, it's a rod.
All right, so we've got our oil pan completely off. Everything is looking good. There's no sparklies, no chunks, nothing's in there. You can see my little pickup tube that I had made, and you can also see why maybe that wouldn't work so well, because it's not exactly on the floor of the pan. Looking back at that video, if you guys remember, we tried it with no tube in it, and it's made no difference. So that tube, I know you're probably thinking, oh, that's got to be your issue. It's not the issue. We've already went over this in the past video, changing all the fittings and lines. That's not the issue, even though it's not technically correct how it's supposed to be. But this new pan is going to have all the Billy Bad Boy stuff that I will show you when it gets here, because it's not yet arrived. So we'll be waiting on that. Let's get this car cleaned up. We'll get the thing ready to put a new pan gasket on it, a new oil pan on it, and then we'll just be waiting on the pan. Big news, we've got our oil pan ready to rock, dude. Encased in styrofoam peanuts. I'm gonna try to, not, this is gonna be a horrible mess. If it's one thing my dad hates, it's packing peanuts, because they just get everywhere.
Oh man.
Gently take it out, as to not spill. Look at the peanuts. Look at this bad boy. Let's get this thing out of there. This is, once again, we're leveling up Blueberry. This is a very, very nice oil pan. You can see I've got our external wet sump specific oil pickup tube that runs down in here. And it's got all the trap doors, the baffles, the crank scrapers, everything that we could possibly need. So hopefully this will once and for all fix our oil pressure issues, because we've been fighting this thing for forever. I think actually it really has been since day one that we've been fighting oil pressure issues with this engine. So what do you think? Shiny. It's a lot fancier than the other one.
100% chance it is not worse.
There's no way it's going to be worse.
There's no way it's
right. The windage should be
Windy.
windy and controlled. Not windy.
Not windy.
Not windy. So let's get this thing over there. We'll put it on the car. All right. So unfortunately, I've put this thing up underneath of there, and I have to lift the engine up to get this all the way in. Not good. I don't like doing this. But I've already taken the liberty of taking the charge tubes off, taking my downpipes off, so I can disconnect the turbos from the engine. That way I can lift the engine, at least the front of it, up. So I've gone ahead and done all of that and loosened up my front motor plate bolts. Now I should be able to drive the forklift over here, lift this thing up, and hopefully we'll be able to slide that pan in there gracefully. We'll see. I think that's probably enough. It was like just a hair that it had to go. Now we can do the fun part of getting silicone all over everything, including yourself, because you have to hold the pan gasket up on there upside down and then fish the oil pan in there. It is by far the worst part of doing an oil pan in the car. This is why I don't ever do it. Normally I just take the entire engine out to do this job, because I just hate doing it. And it's really not that hard to take the engine out in this car. But we ain't got no time. We gotta slap this pan in there right now. So that's how we're doing it. we're gonna give that a healthy dose of silicone because I do not want to do this again.
You seem like you're having a good time.
Yeah, you can say that. Okay, we're not going to be able to use either of those. If you're wondering what I'm messing with right now, I'm messing with these little blue clip thingies that help you keep the pan gasket in there, as well as the pan, which I really wanted to use because it makes it 10 times harder when you don't have these. But I just have to make do. Ooh, hitting my oil pump. That's gonna be an issue. So unfortunately, my oil pan side kick out hits my oil pump. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna be able to move that because it's already against the header. I can't move it out any further. And I can't put it on the other side. What a pain. Oh. See if you can thread some of them in there.
So we had to make some accommodations here. I came over to give Kyle help tonight, and we just need to move this oil pump. Was all the way up there, ain't going up there no more because oil pan's in the way. So we're moving it down here so we can get some movement out of it, and we're gonna have to do some alterations to make this all fit. Then turns out that good thing we took it all apart. Turns out that all 4 of these bolts were broken, and the only thing that was holding on was love.
There's a lot of love here.
Yeah, you can say that.
Got a leak here. Line's not on. Oh, your turbo drain line's not connected. We didn't put drain fittings in the plant pan. Sitting there draining on the ground.
Yeah, well, what we could maybe do is because the passenger side of the pan has got ORB plugs in it that you have to take out to get the pan bolts in and out. And what if we just did like a 10 ORB to 10 AM fitting that just goes straight down off of the bottom of the pan down there? You could for sure do it in the front. In the rear, you can't do it obviously because it's on the ground, but there's one 10 ORB fitting that goes straight up and one 10 ORB fitting that goes straight up. You could run to there
Well,
rather than take the pan back off and weld bungs on it.
I think we could try it. It would. The oil's higher than it is there, regardless. So it wouldn't be a free drain, but it should drain.
Yeah, it was still.
I think if you did that, get an ORB T with 2 -10s and a run, ORB up, screw the ORB into it, and then a TT, so it's not just like straight down.
Yep.
Let me see. I think that should work. I agree. Is that a 10 ORB that's in there?
Yeah, I'm sure it's.
Technically, there's no oil up right there. As this thing's running, going down the track, it should actually be free at the very
back to the back of the pan.
Yeah, and you don't have oil that high up in the pan.
No.
All right, I think it'll work.
All right, guys, so we are finally on the hub dyno, much further behind than what I was originally planning to be. And that's because you guys saw we had to remount everything down there, basically everything. So it should be all good now. We had to redo my turbo drain lines because we forgot to put oil bungs in the pan for the oil return. So we were able to use one of the plugs that's in the front of the pan that's just for bolt hole access. Thread a fitting up into there, run a T to it so that we can have oil return. So that's kind of where we're at on things right now. I'm just getting warmed up, ready to make this first pull. We can see if all of the work that we did paid off.
This on this wastegate?
Wastegate, pumpy 85.
Wastegate, pumpy 85. Oh.
All right, guys, so we have got our oil pressure issue solved.
What?
I know,
Let's
it's
see.
been a long fight. This engine has always had that oil pressure issue, and we narrowed it down to that pan, swapped the pans, and it appears that the issue has now gone away. So we can look at a data log here. We're holding up there at, 70 PSI basically all the way up through the run. We're still, basically 70 PSI, which I can crank that spring a little bit more to get more pressure out of it when the oil's hot. But yeah, everything's looking good, dude.
Going racing.
I don't know about that. So, unfortunately, we got a few issues that are stopping us from racing. The number one thing is none of my stuff is in date. So, this window net, remember us talking about that? I just did not have time to send this out to get a new one made. So this one is long overdue. And you notice there's something missing right here. There's no straps. So, because my straps were out of date too, and I did go ahead and order those ahead of time. And then I don't have any fuel. There's no fuel around here. And I haven't been able to get a hold of the guy that I'm normally buying my fuel from. And he's like an hour away from here. It's Wednesday night. Like, we're gonna hurry up and edit this video so that you guys can see it tonight. So, I don't know. Everything that's going on, like, I have to redo my catch pan that's down there because the catch pan is not going to fit any longer because of moving everything. So me and my dad spent a long night last night on it, early morning this morning working on this thing to get it to this point so we could at least put it on the dyno and confirm that everything is good. And we can look down below the car. You can't tell if it's a little oil drip or what that is. That might have a little tiny puddle down there where it might have a leak, but and if we had the catch pan on it, and our containment tray, it really wouldn't be an issue. But I don't know, dude. Honestly, I just don't really want to go race tomorrow. Too tired. I've been working all week. The car's really not ready. I mean, we'd have to rush to get everything around for this and get it there. And I don't know what to do about the window net. The window net, you have to send that out to. I have never had to do this before, which is why it's out of date. But I think. I can't remember if you actually have to send these out and they make you a new one, or they send you, or no, I think you have to make a template for it or send them this and they'll make you a new one. So obviously they're not going to do that in the next, well, it's the end of the day today, so they're not going to do it tomorrow. They can have it to me tomorrow. So I think we're kind of out of luck on that one. Normally, if it was, a more local event, or if it was just a more chill, low-key race, I would probably just go ahead and send it. but because it's a PDRA race, and anytime I've gone to a race where there's lots of fast guys there and it's kind of a bigger race, the tech guys are always on one. Like if the tech guy sees that, there's no guarantee that he's not just going to send me packing, which would be a huge waste of time and money for me. And I just don't see a way to go racing tomorrow, unfortunately. So
Well, regardless of that or not, still fixed.
we still
Huge
fixed
issue. We've
we
been
still
facing
fixed
the
the
whole
huge
time.
issue, and it's okay that we're not going tomorrow because honestly, this car would get stomped so bad in any class that I put it in at PDRA that it would fit in at least, because really to be competitive any of the small tire classes, I mean, you got to be going 450s unless you're going to race index or something, which I don't even know if they have an index class. So, but it's all good. I'm just using, or I was going to use the PDRA race for testing, which it's no problem because next week we're going to go testing. So look forward to us going testing over there at Mid-Michigan with this thing, trying to get this thing well into the fours. You hear my dad over there starting up his car because he is going racing. I'm Kyle, thanks for watching the channel, and I'll see you next time.